Let's do this. It's time. Episode 8 of this series, and we finally begin Season 2 after a very long offseason. Now, getting into the captaincy for the NHL and the AHL, as you guys voted, Steven Stamkos is the captain, Bo Horvat an alternate, and I didn't give the other alternate to Austin Matthews. I forgot to put Chris Tanev on the poll. His name was brought up quite a bit in the comments. So for this season, Chris Tanev gets the A, and more than likely it'll go to Austin Matthews down the line. But for now, I'm going to make that's going to be my call. That's on me. But Chris Tanev will be the captain this season. God, I hate this menu system. And down in the AHL, we went with what you guys voted. Castles and Gounce with the A, and Jake Virtanen is the captain of the Utica Comets. This season, they have a lot to live up to. Having won the Calder Cup last year, they still have some really good ratings. 76, 80, and 80 for an AHL team is pretty strong. And of course, we are expecting a good season out of guys like Cole Castles, who has high elite potential. Slapishev has made some great progress despite being low 6. And then, of course, Virtanen, Puljujarvi, Yaskin, Edom, and Berchki for that matter. We both need to see big seasons out of. You guys have seen the roster. My only concern is guys like Nemesnikov and Granlund dropping down in overall as we looked to start the season. That is really my only concern, as we need to have as good of a season as possible to really diminish what we gave up in terms of the Stamkos signing. As I said in the last episode, those picks need to be as bad as possible, and hopefully we can have a good season here. I'm not expecting the playoffs, but that is the goal. I love where the team is right now. It's just now a matter of waiting for the progression to kick in and for people to have good seasons in both the NHL and the AHL. But moving forward here, Eddie Lack in goal for these first 4 games, summing up here to this Philly game. How will we start this season? Let's find out. So needless to say, my optimism has declined just a little bit. We are 0-4 through the first 4 games of this season, including back-to-back shutouts against Carolina and the New York Rangers. And that is not what I was expecting at all. We do have the 92 rated offense. Obviously, that is heavily reliant on Steven Stamkos. But you look at the skills of guys on this team, even Kajula, Drouin, Lindholm, Mantha. They have some incredible attributes right now. Like Anthony Mantha, you would expect him to put up some points with those stats. But so far, this team has struggled. Eddie Lack's up to an 85 overall, but my God, that save percentage is absolutely terrible. Jeff Zatkoff will be in goal for the next game, and hopefully we can pick up our first win of the season. It is, of course, we're new. It is only 4 games in, plenty of time to turn this around, but I have faith in this team. I have faith in Jeff Zatkoff, at least more than I had in Markstrom, and we get our first win of the season. It is a shootout win over Philly. Not too concerned with Philly getting a point, because obviously they are in the other conference, so not too bad from us there. Way to go, Zatkoff. Way to get us that first win, and of course we'll take care of the player morale really quick. Mark Savard, what's happening, buddy? Your ice time is distracting. EA, he is a 50 overall, and God, that's awful. Just awful. Again, it'd be nice. That's one of my biggest things I want in GM mode, and I talked about it recently. When you sign somebody, when you call somebody up, when you trade for somebody, you need to be able to say, hey, this is my plan for you, and take it from there. But moving forward, we're simming the next 2 games. Eddie Lack will get the Buffalo and New Jersey game. We're going to want Lack back in against the Coyotes. So what can happen? What can happen for us? And hopefully it's positive as we sim these next 2 games against Buffalo and New Jersey. Well, the good news is Eddie Lack has his first win of the season, 3-2 over New Jersey, but also a 3-1 loss to Jack Eichel and the Buffalo Sabres, a 2-5 record so far. In this episode, we will go up to the All-Star break. Next episode will be trade deadline and finishing up the season, as we tend to do. So there will be a lot of simming in this episode. Jeff Zatkoff, can you get a win against Detroit? And for the third time this season, we have been shut out 3-0. But moving forward, it looks like Eddie Lack will get quite a few games in goal here coming up. We are going to sim to this Minnesota game where Zatkoff will get his next start. Eddie Lack, can you turn the season around for us? It's early. Vancouver's struggling. Utica's 1-4. We need some players to start getting it done. We're a month into the new season, and things have started to turn around a little bit for both the NHL and AHL team. We pick up some points with a couple of shootout and overtime losses. We do get a win against Arizona and New York, but a loss to the Anaheim Ducks in our last game puts us at 4-7-2 on the season. But surprisingly, we are not in last in our division. That would go to the San Jose Sharks. So things are looking up for us a little bit as we'll put Jeff Zatkoff in. Once we go back to put Zatkoff in, I'm going to take a quick look at the stats and we'll give you guys an idea of how players are doing thus far. We only have one more back-to-back in this month, a 1-0 shutout loss to the Minnesota Wild, and that has happened far too often with our team not being able to get offense. That is our strong suit. We need to do better there. So let's take a look. Drake Caggiula, 8 points thus far. Not too bad. Stamkos with 10. Jonathan Drouin, 7. Jimmy Vesey really struggling. We might have to pull him off of the second line. Oh yeah, the Vesey, Matthews, Lindholm line not gelling at all. Much better from the third line, and the fourth line chipping in where they can. So let's see. We have Nemesnikov. Bo Horvat might not. Jesus, Englishman. He might not be too bad. I think I'm going to go with Mantha. We'll put him up on the left wing, and we will swap Vesey and Nemesnikov here, and we'll see how that works out for us. Defensively, Tanev and Parayko struggling a little bit so far. Tramkin and Stetcher not too bad. Hutton and Corrado struggling a bit as well. So I think we will switch this up. I'm going to keep Tanev on the top pairing. Let's swap out, you know what? I'm going to put Frankie Corrado on the top pairing. I want to see what, no. Let's put Tanev down. We'll have Tramkin and Parayko as our top pairing. So we'll switch up the lines here, see if that does anything for us. Again, I don't expect us to make the playoffs, but it would be nice. Let's go ahead now and sim these next 4 games. We will put in Zatkoff against the Blue Jackets. Can we start off or can we turn the month of November around? 2 games in, 2 losses. We need to start getting the job done here. Not our best stretch of games, but it could have been worse. 2 wins and 2 losses. Losing to both Canadian teams, but I will take it. However, we have fallen back into 7th, last in our division. But let's go ahead and hope that Jeff Zatkoff can get us a win here. As you guys know, in these series, I've always had a bit of bad luck with our backup goalies, but even then I don't think Eddie Lack is doing that amazing right now either. Who could blame him though, given the team that is in front of him? It's a young team, it's an inexperienced team, but we are only 18 games through the season. Jeff Zatkoff loses 6-3 to the Blue Jackets, and that will be his last start for a considerable amount of time as we move into the month of December with Eddie Lack between the pipes. Let's see now just how many games we are going to be simming. We are going to go well into the month of December, it looks like. Well, not well in, but we are going up to this Edmonton game. The LA Kings are just absolute beasts, and we have 3 games in a stretch of a week and a half, so that's going to be really rough. But moving forward, let's sim up to December 4th against the Edmonton Oilers. Our inexperience is still present as we are very inconsistent, but in those 7 games, we do finish with a 4-3 record. And of course, now moving on, we play the Edmonton Oilers. We are still last in our division as expected, but we're not too far back. We're keeping up with teams that should be well ahead of us at this point. Jeff Zatkoff will get the start. We'll sim this game, and then we'll probably take another quick look at the roster because we have another decent bit of simming here. We will be finishing up the month of December. Again, I tend to only give my goalies, unless there's a lot of struggling going on, I tend to only give my backup goalie a start when it is a back-to-back or, you know, against an Eastern Conference team that is not doing too well. But Eddie Lack, back in goal. How has he done so far this season? Not well. A .908 save percentage. Zatkov has been much better. I'm almost tempted to maybe go with Jeff Zatkov. He has been much better here. And I'm going to go with Lack, but if we come back to this point and Lack is still struggling, we'll go with Jeff Zatkov. I'm not afraid to do that. Drake Caggiula up to 16 points. Stamkos not too bad. Drouin not too bad. That second line really not gelling too well. So we have some decent point totals, but defensively is where we are getting burned right now. Can BC play center? No, we can't. Nemesnikov can't play center. Mantha cannot play center. Nobody else can really play center, which throws a bit of a wrench into the idea I just had, but I'm going to do it anyway. We're going to move Horvat up to the second line. Jared McCann will come up here. Is Jimmy Vesey a third liner? Yes, he is, but so is Nemesnikov. We will move him back over, changing up the second, third, and fourth lines just a little bit, but pretty much all of these guys are interchangeable at the moment. Defensively, have those changes really worked out? Not really. Tanev still struggling. Ben Hutton has been just god-awful so far for us this season, which is pretty disappointing. So we are going to put him with Chris Tanev, and hopefully Tanev can lead him to some success. But those are the lines in the meantime, and I'm hoping here through this next sim period that we can make some good progress. But we have 3 games against LA. They've started to even out a little bit, which is good for us. So we are going to sim up until this game against the Arizona Coyotes on December 29th. Eddie Lack, lead us to victory. So we've stopped the sim 4 games in. We split the games, the home and home against LA, but then back-to-back losses against Nashville and St. Louis. We are going to put Jeff Zatkov in goal, and we'll see if he can run with it. If it's not much better, we'll switch back to Lack being the starter, but you kind of had to have expected this bad of a season. I was hoping Eddie Lack would do a little bit better, but for a team that is definitely on the fringe in terms of making the playoffs to begin with, I was hoping for a little bit better. Nemesnikov continues to bitch about the team not playing too well. It's not like he's had a spectacular season to begin with, so maybe he should just focus on his own play. Maybe. We're not even last in the division. But going forward again to that second Arizona game, Jeff Zatkov, what can you do for us? I hate this game. I fucking hate it so much. We get the win over LA, and then Jeff Zatkov gets hurt with a concussion until March 9th. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Alright, well obviously we're going to have to sign a goalie in the meantime. Man, Ty Edmonds is up to a 77. That's pretty good. I would rather fuck with Edmonds' morale and call him up right now. I'd rather screw with his morale by having to send him back down than screw with Thatcher Demko's. So, yeah, needless to say, Eddie Lack will be back in goal. We're going to sign a goalie and then probably send Edmonds back down. I'm not sure. It's going to really depend on who is available. I don't even know if there will be any decent goaltenders available. I mean, there might be, but maybe it'll be best just to stick with Edmonds. But let's stop the sim here, hopefully, or is it going to... Okay, good. Sometimes it doesn't stop, as I'm sure you guys know, and it would just sim that Winnipeg game. But let's take a look, not at scouting. I hate this menu system. Let's go to free agency. Is there a decent goalie available that we can have in goal for now? And it's pretty much the options we had not too long ago. Michael Layton, Anders Nilsson, Kevin Poulin, Gustafsson, Tokarski. Who should I definitely think we're going to have to sign at least one of them. And for the hell of it, I'm just on a whim, we're going to offer Michael Leighton a deal. Just on a whim for the hell of it. And we will see if he signs, which I'm sure he will. And then we'll see what he can do for us. But let's go break Ty Edmund's spirit really quick with the player morale. Of course, we'll end up having to send him back down. It's going to negatively affect some of our good players, which, man, maybe we'll keep him there. Maybe we'll just keep him as the backup and avoid the negative morale. I hate the morale system so much. For moments like this, we sim the Winnipeg game. It is a 3-2 loss. We fall to 13, 18-2 on the season, and it gets even worse. Michael Leighton is here, and we will put him into Englishman into the lineup as Eddie Lack's backup. So thankfully, the month of December is almost over. We have lost 4 straight games now, falling to 13, 21, and 2 on the season, back into last place in our division. It's getting a little bit rough at this point. Manny Malhotra, Jesus Christ, he did not get along with most of the locker room. Good to see he is making enemies. But let's go ahead. Michael Leighton will get his first start for the team, and then we'll look to shake up the lineups again. Most likely, it definitely looks like we need it. 36 games through. This is not where I was wanting to be. I was really hoping our offensive firepower would be enough to carry us through. We do get a 4-1 win over the Coyotes, and moving into January, we have a pretty busy schedule. Very busy January, as opposed to what you would normally see. But let's go ahead and take a look at what our players have managed to accomplish so far this season. And obviously, you know, right off the bat, you can tell we really haven't gotten amazing progression. Austin Matthews has progressed, which is nice. We'll actually take a look at him in a minute. Kajula, not too bad, 22 points on the season. Stamkos, not too bad. Jonathan Drouin is just a dish machine on that top line, you know, but man, I'm just thinking Austin Matthews is really struggling at a minus 16. That second line is not working, and I think we're going to have to split up Matthews and Lindholm. A lot of minus players, and I know, you know, in real life, plus minus is not the greatest stat to measure how good or how talented a player is, but obviously this game does not give you much to go off of in terms of being able to actually tell how a certain player is doing. So Bo Horvat, let me try that again, is going to be dropped back down to the third line, and we are going to, you know what, let's try that. We're going to put Austin Matthews on the top line with Stamkos and Drouin. I'm going to put Mantha with Kajula and Lindholm, and we will see what this team can do moving forward. Hopefully that helps, putting Matthews, Stamkos, and Drouin together. Tryamkin, Parayko, Ben Hutton has just been dreadful. This defense, though, obviously in general, is not the strongest defense. And moving forward, I was tempted to make an AHL call-up, but only Stetcher can avoid waivers. And like I said in the last episode, I know we're going to need some defensive upgrades, and that's coming in the future, in the next free agent period, and with Jacob Chychrun. I'm going to go through the growing pains for now, unless you guys really, really think we should improve our defense right now in an effort to make the playoffs. Now we get a waiver claim, which hopefully more of these pop up. Rasmus Ristolainen is not what we are looking for, so we will decline that. This game against Winnipeg as we enter the new year, 4-2 loss and a 2-1 loss to the Blackhawks. So it's looking a little bit more bleak in terms of being able to make the playoffs and having Tampa not get some quality draft picks unless we make changes. But again, do we want to make those changes, or do we want to hold on to who we have and just hope that they progress? But obviously we haven't seen the progression. It's tough to choose. It really is tough to choose what we should do. So let's do this. Michael Leighton against the Nashville Predators, who have been crazy good this season, and they absolutely smoke us 6-3. This season continues to fall apart for us. Again, I was really hoping offensively we could pull it together, but it's not looking good. So I will already pose that question to you guys. What do we do? Do we just ride it out and hope next year is better, or do we make trades? Because right now we are going up to the All-Star break. We'll take a look at the stats one more time, and then that'll be it for the episode. So let's see what we can do in this final stretch of this episode. Another 7-game stretch, another 4-3 record. As we hit the All-Star break, 18, 26, and 3 on the season. We are last in our division, not by much, tied in points with the Coyotes, but of course they have a game in hand. But let's take a look and see where we are. We are currently 27th in the league. Tampa not doing too much better, considering we've stolen a lot, or not stolen, we traded for them and picked them up off of free agency, but we've taken a lot of their offensive firepower, and yeah, we are dead last in the Western Conference. Presumably, we are, Jesus, who the hell knows at this point. I mean, say Chicago is in it, but, you know, Calgary might be in it. I mean, we are at least 10 points plus out of a playoff spot at this point. It is very evident the team we have right now is not going to be good enough to make the playoffs. But again, the question to you is, do we make the changes, or do we just let the season go by? And of course, we don't have very high draft picks, but do we let the season go by, get that big defensive signing at the end of the season, or do we make a push for the playoffs? I'm not too concerned about Tampa getting those big draft picks. If they do, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it at this point. I am more than happy to have Steven Stamkos. He and Drouin have been great thus far, whatever. Drake Caggiula, not doing too bad. Bo Horvat has really struggled in terms of defense, as has Lindholm. Anthony Mantha, 20 points. I was hoping for a little bit better. Jimmy Vesey's been very disappointing. So it's that fourth line, not too well at all. Down in Utica, actually, before we do that, Eddie Lack, what is the save percentage at this point for Mr. Lack? It's a 909, obviously not good enough for the starting role, and as an 85 overall goaltender, you would really expect better. Down in Utica, Thatcher Demko, 79 overall, 918 save percentage, not too bad at all. Defensively, why not take a look? Actually, you know what, we'll just look at everybody in terms of the point total. Slepchev, 27 points. You can look and see who is doing well. But that'll do it for this episode, guys. Let me know. The question is up in the air. There will be a poll up in that top right-hand corner. Let me know, do we make trades in the next episode? And down in the comments below, be more specific. Do we need more offense? Maybe trade away certain people? Maybe do we get that defender now? For example, already, if you were to say, hey, Edom, Berchke, and Ben Hutton, and try and get a defender, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with you. But let me know, guys. That'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.